What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Darian Jones on Honor Kings and Sons TV podcast. Thank you guys so much for always rocking with me. Be sure, if you are a newcomer, to follow me on all social media platforms at Honor Kings and Sons. That is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I have two YouTube channels. Please make sure that you check them both out. The first one, if you type in at DJonesHKS, you will see it pop up, Honor Kings and Sons TV. That's where you see the diversified content, the skits, the freestyles, things like that. And then if you type in Honor Kings and Sons straight like that, you'll be able to see my audio clips that are posted every week. And soon you're going to be seeing in-person videos of me talking about a different subject matter on that YouTube channel as well. So please make sure that you subscribe. I'm trying to get 500 subscribers on both YouTube channels, and definitely trying to make sure that my my other social media platforms get those 500 followers as well. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. So today we're going to be talking about power struggles. Power struggles is something that is big because you can have a power struggle on the one side of the spectrum, which is very small, you know, case by case power struggles, and then you can go to the other side of the spectrum or the extreme where you got the big power struggles. I'm talking about government versus government. If you're a faith-based person, the Bible says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness, against spiritual wickedness in high places. We know that famous scripture in the Bible. So, power struggles, they are a serious thing. And, I take more time every single day to think, and I really process, on what is popular in society, what is prevalent. I process what people say. I process people's viewpoints. I try to make sure I am really listening to what people are saying, and I'm comparing these things constantly so that I have a world view, and I'm able to communicate back to the individual I may be talking to or the crowd I'm talking to. I'm communicating on a way that everybody can understand how I'm viewing it. And so when we look at power struggles, it's one of those situations and one of those topics that it's ever changing. One day the whole world can be arguing and fighting over something to gain control over, and then the next day it's not important, and we're fighting over something new. But a power struggle really takes place when you have some things. Well, here are some factors. Let's put it this way. Here are some factors. So first off, a person has to be aware of themselves. Self-awareness. Once you become aware of yourself, you know where you are, you know your weaknesses, you know your strengths, your likes, your dislikes, your all these different things. You just become, cognizant of, and it's at your forefront, and you are just capable to move in those capacities. So once you are in that state and you meet somebody who is in the same state as you in terms of their self, what happened is there's a question that needs to be asked. And that question is very simple. Are you and that other person supposed to be in this place where you both met? A power struggle takes place when two people meet at a place that technically has not been defined for either party. So if a person, let's say a Walmart, right? A person goes to a Walmart, and let's just say that they have a business that they're setting up near the Walmart, and they go to that Walmart to promote their business to the families that's in their shopping, right? And there's another person who lives near the Walmart, and they're there, and maybe they don't have a business that they're promoting, but they do a lot of community work, and they like to go and inform people inside the Walmart of what they do. and those two individuals meet, right? So the conversation has to be, okay, you know, like, what are you here for? What am I here for? And if you don't have that conversation, then you guys can't really create any type of jurisdiction, right? You guys can't create any type of terms and conditions so that there's no conflict. So a lot of times, whenever you see a power struggle, it's very simple. There has been no discussion of jurisdiction. Nobody has come to terms, right? Anytime you look in the history of the world and you look at, two nations, two civilizations, two countries, two opposing parties that meet on a certain ground, right? And there's conflict, there's war, there's tension. Unless a peace treaty is drafted, unless there is a winner, which means somebody took the loss, unless those things are defined, you will constantly have those two powers bucking heads. And really, they're just looking for what? Definition. They want to be able to define, is this my territory? Can I carry on the plans that I have, or the plans that are part of my journey of fulfillment, purpose, and destiny. So whenever you see two parties conflicting, and you say, "Oh man, it's a power struggle," it's lack of definition. So let's take this to the lower side of the spectrum, right? Everyday life. You have two siblings, right? And it's very simple. Those two siblings, they grow up in a household and they fight over the remote, right? If there's no terms or conditions over that remote, they're gonna fight every single day. If they share a room, right? Who gets to play the radio? Well, it's 2014, so I'm pretty sure they don't have radios playing anymore. But like, who gets to, I don't know, use the room to do some type of activity, or who gets to get online and play video games, things like that, right? If there is no uh, type of peace treaty, any type of terms and conditions, there's no structure of how we're gonna handle this area of domain, then those two siblings are gonna fight 24/7. They're gonna fight 24/7. They're gonna fight. Power struggle. If you take it into, like I say, you could take this anywhere. You could take this concept anywhere. You can go to schools, you can go to local businesses, you can go to sports, you can go anywhere on the lower end, and look at this, and you will see power struggles everywhere. And here is where power struggles a lot of times turn deadly. A lot of times, power struggles turn deadly when it gets to relationships, when it gets to two parties coming together to share, or to work together, or to apparently work together, in some type of relationship. Because we know there's platonic relationships, we know there's different types of friendships, and then we know the types of love. You have agape love, you have eros love, you have all these different, forms of love and friendship and stuff like that. So anytime you see a power struggle in a friendship, or you see a power struggle in a relationship, it's because there's lack of definition. you know as a faith-based person, there's a famous story in the Bible when it comes to James and John. The Bible, they are called the sons of thunder, or the son. Well, they're known as the sons of Zebedee, but they're also called the sons of thunder. And for those of you who don't understand the literary context of the Bible, a lot of times it's a lot of idioms, because remember, you have to understand Jewish culture, Jewish texts, and things like that. So a lot of times it's an idiom, and it's figurative. It's not, legit. So it has a bigger meaning. So when you look at James and John, they were always at each other, going neck and neck. And the Bible speaks on this issue that they were having. When they took it to Jesus, they were talking about, like, who's your favorite, or who is the best amongst us, and Jesus's response was really awesome, because Jesus' response had nothing to do with them as much as it had to do with definition. You know, you have to understand that whenever you have uh, two parties, at odds with one another, or whenever you have conflict, one of the reasons why conflict is it exists for long periods of time, and it exists with such a terrible history, is because there is no definition. There is nothing that has been put on to identify, label, or categorize this thing. Like, if we move forward into relationships, all right, you have a boyfriend, girlfriend. You know what? Let's even get into marriage, because marriage is a serious thing. So when you look into marriage and you start to see power struggles, right? The traditional ones, it can be the man. He takes care of most of the bills, if not all the bills. He does the providing. The wife is home nurturing the kids. We know in today's world that almost doesn't exist. Most husbands and wives are both working and trying to juggle raising a family while still trying to achieve some type of financial freedom, some type of wealth, and maintain their stability. So, what are some power struggles that can come about? Well, it's simple. A power struggle, like I say, comes about when there isn't any definition. So, if a marriage lacks standards, if a marriage lacks rules or regulations, boundaries, then there's always going to be a power struggle. If a man has an issue with his wife, how she talks to him, how she allows him to lead, her submissiveness. If a woman has an issue with how a man is treating her, how he is protecting, how he is making her feel comfortable and loved and appreciated out in the public amongst other married couples. When they talk about finances, when they talk about the future of their children's education, anytime you see altercations arise, which 9 times out of 10 is a candidate for them wanting to get a divorce, which most reasons that people get divorced are very, 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 very stupid. You have to understand that it's simple. It's a power struggle, and it can come from many different lanes. It can come from the fact that how that woman was raised, and the line of women in her family, what they pride themselves on, the focus points, what was their best skill, what was their best asset, taking that into the marriage, and what other different things, like the baggage that they bring to the marriage, the lack of skills, lack of knowledge, lack of discipline, lack of respect, lack of diversity in terms of being cultured and being around different groups, and social skills, right? And same thing for the man. So you come into a marriage and you're trying to move forward, but these power struggles keep you guys from not going anywhere. It's like this person wants to be on top when it comes to this subject. This person wants to be on top when it comes to that subject. And it's like, when are you guys going to start to define things? One of the things that I personally wanted to do for my marriage is to put core values, to treat my marriage like a company where we have core values. Not to say that we've never had core values the entire time I've been married, but I wanted to actually draft it. I wanted to actually seal it. I wanted to actually establish it like a foundation, like almost like have it like a chart. Have it like an emblem, have it like a mural, have it like something that represents, my family. And so my wife and I, we put that together. And it's funny because we've come a long way in our marriage. We've had ups and downs. Every marriage, goes through conflict and goes through fighting and things like that. And one of the things we realized was that when we were younger, we were very power hungry because we did not define how to approach each other's strengths and weaknesses. We did not define how to approach each other's, lack of abilities. It was simple. If we noticed that one of us did not have an ability, it was easy to just say, I'll do it, and you didn't even give that person the opportunity to strengthen what they lacked in, or even an opportunity for that person to be taught under you. And this gave rise to a lot of problems when we were very young in marriage. And so, like I said, these are power struggles. You have some ongoing power struggles that, many marriages take to the grave. And some of those can be, things that are less significant. Like you may just have, personal features, tendencies that, are very small. They don't have any long lasting effect on your day to day, activities and your day to day engagement and all your forms of intimacy when you are a married person. But you kind of did wish the person worked on it or done away with it, and those things are subjective. Like I've heard older married couples, it's simple. So the wife would say something like, "I to this day I don't like the way he chooses food. I don't like the way he sits in the chair. I don't like the way, like stuff like that." See, those things are not necessarily power struggles because she knows exactly what the person does, and she doesn't, like it. She tells him, and he has made the decision that he is not going to, work on that, right? Power struggles have to do with lack of definition. So I don't want to confuse anybody. If a person makes a decision after they know what has been defined, they make a decision that they are not going to, um, address the issue at hand, then that's no longer a power struggle. That's what you would call. So we have to understand that there are standards that people are going to have, and they're not going to let up about them. And these are things that we have to get comfortable with. If there are two parties that are bucking heads, and there are just certain things that they are not going to be shaken on, those are what we know to be as standards. So when you have a power struggle that's taking place, anytime they're hitting and they're hitting and they're hitting and they're bumping heads, two different parties are bumping heads, it's their standards that are clashing. Um, and they're not going to let up on those standards. So we have to look a little bit deeper and see what it is that people are really going after in a power struggle, right? Is it to some people in a power struggle? It's not even about them wanting to have the last word or wanting to eradicate their enemy or the person who is opposing them. It's really just for them to know that they have a voice. They have a safe place where they can share their views, and they have a safe place where they can be able to make mention what is on their mind. And of course, this looks a little bit different in different, fields and industries and things like that. But some people just want to know that that platform exists, right? And then you have the other person, or the other personality that is like the dictator, the tyrant. They want to reign forever and ever, and they want to make sure that people know that they were the ones who dominated. So there's different components. You have the lust for power that some people battle with, and that manifests in the midst of a power struggle. They're just different things that can really go into a power struggle. But I want to leave you guys with this: if you find yourself in a situation where you know who you are, and there is a position that you want to reach, There is a goal that you want to achieve. There is a message that you want to be heard. There is a purpose and a destiny that you believe very strongly in, and you come up against a person who is, being your adversary. They're trying to oppress you. They're trying to hinder you, or that's what it feels like. And you find opposition. You find resistance, and it seems like you guys are fighting for power. There's just a certain set of questions you want to ask yourself. Like pretty much having your own rhetoric so that you don't lose yourself in that power struggle. Because the only person that truly loses a power struggle is the person that didn't know their true power to begin with. So that's just a little snippet I want to give you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your take on it. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Honor Kings and Sons. I really appreciate all of you for following me on this journey and with my podcast. And, I want to be able to hear what you have to say about it. All right, so that's it for today. You guys take care. God bless. Have a wonderful day and be easy.